Mike Radich here, and I'm now joined on the phone by AFC Welterweight champion Ryan Ford. Ryan, how are you?
Hey, what's happening, man? I'm doing good. Yourself?
I'm doing good. Ryan, so much we need to talk about. There's a lot of things going on, definitely in your world as well as the world of mixed martial arts, so a lot we need to get to. First, let's start with your health. In your last fight against Michael Hill, you suffered a broken arm. Even though you were able to win the fight, you were able to defeat him in the 5th round via submission. You did suffer an injury in that fight. Give us an update. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm feeling good, man. I posted a little Instagram video there today on my Instagram, so I don't know if you're checking out. I'm hitting hard. Mm-hmm. So I heal up good, and I'm looking to fight here before the end of the year, at least one more time.
Mm-hmm. I'm just curious, when exactly did you know that you had broken your arm? I mean, I heard that it was in the 1st round that you suffered the injury, but when exactly did you actually feel it? Because, it's very surprising that you were able to still go 4 more rounds after you had suffered the injury. So I'm just curious, when did you really feel the effects of having an injury?
Yeah, to tell you the truth, I felt it at the end of round 1. I don't know where I did it in the fight,
right.
But I know when I came down for round 1, and usually round 1 you just want to get your heart rate back down and recover. And then I just walking back to my corner, and Steve came out, and I'm like, Steve, man, I said, shit, something feels bad with my arm. I said, I think something's wrong with my arm. And he's like, don't worry, Ryan. He's like, man, you did good. Keep doing what you're doing, blah, blah, blah. And, from there, it's just out the window, right? I don't care about my arm. Mm-hmm. We got to fight to win,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that your corner said that to you, because that was going to be my next question. Did you hide it from your corner, or did they know about it and say, hey, just keep it hush-hush? So it's funny that you mentioned that, because that was going to be my next question. But
I told my corner I was coming back, maybe every round, I don't know. But I know the 1st round I came over, and Steve pretty much just said, he just told me how good I was doing in the fight and stuff, get your mind off it, right?
Mm-hmm. You finished the fight with a rear naked choke in the 5th round. I'm just curious, what arm was under the neck? Was it the broken arm?
The arm.
What, really?
The arm that was busted, I was squeezing it, and I was almost like, man, I was like, tap, man, tap, because, Mike Hill, he's a tough dude. Mm-hmm. And right. I was like, tap, and he finally tapped. I was like, I thought I was going to snap my arm in half.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Now, just curious, this fight, it was a great performance. I know that after the fight you said that you weren't really too pleased with it, but 5 rounds, you had a broken arm for 4 of those 5 rounds, and you were able to finish the fight with a submission. Obviously you said it wasn't your best performance, but you got to kind of be pleased with it considering what you went through in the fight.
Oh yeah, it is. I won the fight, right, and
right.
Brought the belt home, and that's really that matters. But I believe I could have done a lot more in the fight, but I got it done, and it is what it is, and I'll just have to showcase it on the next fight.
Mm-hmm. What about your performance didn't you like?
I just thought I wasn't doing enough work, like all my other fights. I felt like I should have finished that fight, in the 2nd round. But I didn't think it was how I usually fight. I thought it was a little take him down, just kind of keep him down. And me, I finished the fight, but I like to finish it more fashionably.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Now, Michael Hill, he was not your original opponent. He stepped up on short notice when, according to Darren Owen, 5 or 6 guys before him had turned down the fight against you. How much respect and how much credit do you give to Michael Hill, a guy who stepped up on short notice, was able to give you, a 5-round fight and, step up and take the fight? Not a lot of guys out there are lined up to fight you. A lot of guys know that you're a very tough fight, so not a lot of guys would take the fight on short notice like he did. So how much credit and how much respect do you give to Michael Hill?
Oh yeah, I give Michael Hill a lot of respect, for taking the fight against me. And a lot of guys, they don't want to fight me because they're trying to get to the better place, but
right.
they know if they fight me, that there can be some trouble there. So it is what it is. I'm just going to keep fighting. Like I said before, I go into every fight. My opponent can change the day before the fight, and I'll be ready to fight whoever it is because that's what I do. I fight, right? He's a man and I'm a man, and we're going to get in there and we're going to get down.
Mm-hmm. This is the second time that you went 5 rounds. The first time you went 5 rounds was against Pat Healy way back when in the MFC. Could you compare the differences? I mean, obviously, you won this fight against Michael Hill with a broken arm, and in the other fight, you lost to Pat Healy by decision. Going that 5 rounds, how did you feel, and how did they compare getting a win and a finish, and then the other time going on the losing end and losing a decision?
When I fought Pat Healy, that was like, I was so glued to the game. I wasn't even, I didn't have the training partners who I have today. Right. I had, I was working with what I had back then, right? And now I'm a whole different breed of fighter right now. But it was 2 totally different things. There's a lot of things going on back, for the Pat Healy fight, and my mind was clear going into this fight. So, there's a lot of things that factor in. People just think you just get in the cage and you fight. Well, if stuff ain't going mentally, then you're already losing part of the fight. So, but other than that, Pat Healy I fought him twice. This guy's a tough dude.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, are you still training with TriStar? And if so, do you only do your camps with them?
No, I train at TriStar. TriStar is the gym that I'm at. That's my home gym.
Okay.
Other than when I'm at home here. Mm-hmm. When I'm at home, I'm down at Complete MMA, and I'm also at the boxing gyms here in Edmonton. But, TriStar is a gym that, when I go to get ready for fights, I'm there probably, 8 weeks at a time. So I want to be ready for a fight. So usually I'm there 3 times a year at 8 weeks at a time. Pretty much half as the time in Montreal as I am home.
Mm-hmm. Now, Ryan, the AFC, they were purchased by World Series of Fighting, and now they've been rebranded into World Series of Fighting Canada. Are you signed with that organization? Did they absorb your contract, and now you're with World Series of Fighting Canada?
No, I never had a contract with AFC in my last fight. So, I never had a contract with them. So, right now I'm with Bellator right now. We're figuring the things out with the contract and whatnot. But other than that, I'm a free agent right now.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So Bellator, that's one of the main talking points I wanted to ask you about, because I've been so curious, because you've been with them since, I believe, mid-2012, I want to say. You've been signed with Bellator, and you haven't been in a tournament. Is the reason why you're not in this current tournament is because you had that arm injury, or are there other factors involved in you not being a part of a tournament?
Yeah, no, the other factor is the same factor we've been waiting on, is getting my waiver form. And, it's still the progress now. They're still giving us, 4 to 6 months. So that's the deal with that, right? We're going through, but right now, I got to fight, right? And wherever I can fight that allows me to fight, I got to make money and put food on the table for my family, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So with you still being under contract with Bellator, it's probably not likely that you'll be fighting for World Series of Fighting?
I have in my contract with Bellator, when I first signed the contract, I made it clean and clear that if they could not keep me active here in Canada while we're figuring out the process of this waiver form, then I can fight for anybody who comes to Canada. Mm-hmm. That who's ever in Canada, as long as it's in Canada, I'm allowed to fight.
Mm-hmm. What exactly is a waiver form? I'm not too familiar with that lingo.
Your U.S. waiver form. Mm-hmm. You have to get a U.S. waiver form.
Oh, I see.
Charges back in, so that's what we've been waiting for.
Oh, I see.
There's nothing really that's saying that I can't cross. Mm-hmm. Right?
Right.
But it's my luck. If I want to go, it's a 50-50 chance. You can get a guy that waves you through, and you can get a guy that stops you. And they can either let you through or they don't let you through. So you can get either one of those two persons. And so if Bellator were to build up a big fight for me, mm-hmm. and I'm like, yeah, okay, I can go. And then all of a sudden I try to get across. They spend all that money promoting me coming over there to fight, because a lot of people want to see me over there fight. Mm-hmm. And it would just wreck that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. All right. I was just curious because, Bellator, you're one of the top guys in their welterweight division, and, just my personal opinion, I think that, you're better than those guys that are the 8 guys that were in this welterweight tournament. So I was very curious. I thought that maybe that you weren't a part of Bellator anymore, and that's why you were with AFC. But now this whole waiver form and not being able to come to the States and everything is clearing it up for me. So I'm happy that we were able to talk about this.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. I'd love to get in there and get in the cage with them, and and fight the best that they got. Because really, the guy that there's to beat right now is Douglas Lima, and I fought him right, and he beat me in the second round. But I believe I've come a long ways as a fighter since I fought Lima, and I know he has too. But I think that would be a fight that the fans would be like, wow.
Mm-hmm. Now, the last time we talked was about a year and a half ago, and you said that, still weren't on good terms with Mark Pavlich, and you didn't see anything in the future leading you to believe that things would be able to be patched up. At this point, is there any hard feelings toward him, or you kind of just let that stuff go, and it is what it is, and it's never going to get better? Because I saw an interview with you. Somebody asked you if you felt that you burned bridges in MFC, and you said that no, you built the bridges. So there was never anything to burn because you were the guy who had built that bridge. So at this point, do you even care about patching things up?
No, there's no reason to, right? You
right.
do you, I'm gonna do me, and that's how it is with me, right? Like, I could care less unless you believe in me, unless you support me and stuff. I could really care less what people say about me, right? That's the way it's going to be when you're in the spotlight. When there's those haters that come out, right? But those are the people that make me want to even do better, so that they're like, they can't say nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So that they're my motivators. My haters are my motivators. That's like a quote that I use.
Mm-hmm. Just curious, is there still a little bit of hard feelings? Because I've seen some tweets that you put out there. You had a picture of the AFC belt, and you said, "Oh, this is the best looking belt in Edmonton." You've also said when you fought for AFC, "Hey, I'm fighting for the #1 show in Edmonton." Were those kind of stabs or a little bit of jabs at Mark Pavlich in the MFC, or was that just
no? Those weren't none at all. Those were just my reply comments to him.
Okay.
Because for someone that doesn't like you and as much and says all the stuff about you, well, why are you always trying to talk about me in subliminal messages, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Like he doesn't, that's all those are. But I'll tell you right now, man, I'm looking at my AFC welterweight belt right now, and I'm telling you right now, I've seen the MFC belt. Mm-hmm. It don't compare to this belt.
Yeah, I agree.
I have no hard feelings, but when you want to yap at me, just remember, when you yap at me, you ain't gonna win. Because I always got something back on you. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's the only thing with me. Mm-hmm. If somebody says something about me or says something, that has to do with me, I'll say something back. Mm-hmm. That's the difference. I'll keep it real.
Mm-hmm. Now, during this off time, like you mentioned, you have a family, you have kids. How do you support yourself when you don't have fights set up?
For one, I make a pretty good. I make a lot more than any other fighter out there fighting, locally. So I can live on my paychecks of me fighting 3 times a year. Mm-hmm. That's like me having a full-time job if I were to work 9 to 5, plus a little bit more. But I got my G'd Up clothing line that I sell here in the stores. I sell all around town. I supply some stores with my G'd Up clothing, and my sponsors. I make big on my sponsors, and I give a lot of support to them because I wouldn't be able to be in the gym all day, every day, spend time with my family unless it's time that I'm going to get ready for fights. And they've helped me a lot with that too. And it's just been my dedication to me, wanting to be where I am, and I promote myself pretty good, and that's a lot of thing that a lot of these other fighters out there that are trying to build their name up and stuff. They got to get on, promoting themselves. Don't be waiting for somebody else to do it for you.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Ryan, when World Series of Fighting purchased AFC, a lot of people were talking about fights that they would like to see, and one of the fights that came up was a fight with you and Tyson Steele. That was a fight that was supposed to happen a while ago, but he ended up getting injured, and then you ended up fighting someone else on the date that you guys were supposed to fight. But I heard when you got wind of that, and when you heard that people were talking about this fight, you weren't too excited about that. Is that true? Maybe not right now you're excited about it, but maybe if he were to get a couple more wins, then maybe you'd get excited about that?
Well, sure, get a couple more wins, but other than that, it's I believe I'm on a different level, and Steve Carl proved that in Tyson Steele's last fight, and I believe I'm better than Steve Carl, and whoever it is, so he's got to win a few more fights. There's no more of this coming off a few losses to to come and fight me, right? Mm-hmm. No, that's not going to happen. Like, they don't do that to, a lot of name fighters.
Mm-hmm. Are you still interested in fighting Joel Powell?
I was supposed to fight him,
right?
But he got injured and stuff like that. So yeah, I was supposed to fight him.
Right.
He's coming off a win and a few wins, I believe. Joel's, I've seen a few of his fights. He's a good fighter. I think it would be an awesome fight. But it all comes down to the promoters, who they want who to fight, and and to me it's a contract. Money talks.
Mm-hmm. If you had to put money on it right now, when will you be fighting and where will you be fighting? Will it be in Bellator? Will it be somewhere else? Would it be before the end of this year? Give us your thoughts on when we might see you next.
Yeah, I can't say nothing where I'm fighting. I'm still waiting,
right.
Hear from Bellator, see what's going on with them. But I'm planning to fight before the end of this year. You can guarantee that.
Mm-hmm. Ryan, real quick before I let you go, do you have any sponsors you'd like to thank, and is there anything you'd like to say to the fans?
All my fans out there, keep supporting me. I'm going to keep putting on. Every time I get in there, it's going to be exciting. All my sponsors, I want to thank, who do we got here? Crooks and Castles, Harley Davidson Edmonton, Macro Construction, FS Skateboards, Muscle Shack, Royal Empire Jewelry, Leading Edge, and G'd Up, man. If you ain't G'd Up, you're getting beat up. So check me out on Twitter, Ryan Ford MMA, and what else we got here? Instagram, G'd Up 780, Real Deal.
Ryan, thank you for taking the time to talk. I really appreciate it.
Hey, no problem. Anytime.